two, one. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Today, I'm here with my group, and we'll be presenting to you about a tutorial on how to use a software used for virtualization or creating a virtual machine in your own device called VirtualBox. I am here with my group, which includes myself, Razi Mahardika, and my friend here, Varick Vanedick. So before we start off, uh, let's start with introductions. What exactly is virtualization? So virtualization is a technology that allows the simultaneous operation of multiple operating systems on a physical server. So how does it work? Here on the right side, we have a graph that shows how virtualization works. On the top layer, we have the CPU, the RAM, the storage, and the network, which represents the device or server that we intend to create virtual machines on. Then, these four resources are fed into a hypervisor. The hypervisor is actually where the virtualization happens. Once the hypervisor is done doing its job, we can see multiple virtual machines or VMs uh, being made available to the users. Now, what is a VM or a virtual machine? A virtual machine is a computational resource that utilizes software in place of a physical computer to run programs and deploy apps. And in our case, multiple instances of it can exist in a single server or device. So why do we need to use virtualization? What exactly are the advantages? There are actually a few advantages of using a virtualization. Here, the first one is that it's efficient. Since we can create multiple virtual machines in a single device, we will be able to create as much virtual machines as necessary to utilize the full CPU, RAM, memory, and storage of the device itself. Each task that was given to each VMs will also not be able to hog any resources or all the resources. Secondly, by using virtualization, we will be able to save costs. By using virtual machines, we won't be needing as much physical servers. And by using less physical servers or less hardware, we'll be able to use less power or electricity, and we'll also have less cooling requirements. Third, virtualization will help us in flexibility and scalability. Since new VMs can be made easier without any new hardwares, uh, we can create as much and remove as much VMs as necessary to match demands. Fourth, we have security. By using virtualization, we can actually help with our own security because each VM is actually isolated between each other, which can limit the spread of malwares or any other issues or configurations that can exist in one particular VM. Also, each user that's using a VM can be given different types of access and permissions depending on what is necessary, which means we can provide access control. So the software that we'll be discussing on this presentation is VirtualBox. What is VirtualBox? VirtualBox is a free and open source virtualization platform that allows users to run multiple operating systems simultaneously on a single machine. VirtualBox supports various host and guest operating systems and also offers different functions and features which will be discussed later on in the presentation. So why use VirtualBox? Of course, since VirtualBox is a virtualization software, we'll also get all the benefits of virtualization itself. But other than that, there's also a few benefits of using VirtualBox over other virtualization softwares. Firstly, VirtualBox is free and it's also open source, which means there's a lot of users out there trying to help improve the code for VirtualBox itself. It has a wide OS support, as previously mentioned. It has several guests and uh, it has several guest OS that it can support. It's cross-platform compatible. So if you have many users that are using different types of platform, you'll be able to use VirtualBox comfortably with each other. It is lightweight in system requirements, which means that you don't necessarily need a very powerful PC or device to run VirtualBox. You can run it even in a minimal setup. It has an active community, which means if you ever need help, if you reach out to the community, chances are they'll be able to help you with your problems. And lastly, it's also portable. So who can use VirtualBox? There's actually many different types of people who might be able to take advantage of VirtualBox. The first one being developers and testers. IT professionals and administrators, businesses can also utilize VirtualBox, and students and educators from certain universities or faculties might be able to use it as well. Why them? Because VirtualBox actually has a wide range of operating systems with various cost-effective and accessible features that can be easily utilized by beginners and professionals alike. So before we start setting up VirtualBox and we start using it, there's actually a few things that we will need to get or set up. The first one is we need to enable virtualization in our own devices. We also need to download and install VirtualBox. And we also need to download ISO file, which in this case we'll be using Ubuntu. So for the first requirement, which is enabling virtualization, since each CPU, device, and OS might have different ways of enabling virtualization, typically by accessing BIOS or any other types of menus, uh, the way we can see how if virtualization is active or not is by going to the task manager and going to the performance tab and seeing on the display on the bottom there if virtualization is enabled or not. And next up, we also need to download and install VirtualBox itself. The link to the site is provided on the bottom right over there. And once you are on the site, all you have to do is download the setup that is in accordance to your OS, like Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and any other OSs, and just run the setup once you have it downloaded. And lastly, we also need to download the ISO file. In this case, we use Ubuntu. And the downloads link is provided on the bottom left once again. And once you're on the site, all you have to do is download the proper one that you need and run the setup once you have it downloaded. And now my friend will explain how to set up the VirtualBox machine itself. And here he is.
Alright, so I will begin this setup virtual machine and how to use the VirtualBox. First, we create new virtual machine by clicking the new button. There will open a panel where you can input all the necessary information like name, folder installation, type will be using the Linux downloaded. So type Linux, the version Ubuntu 64-bit. Click next. Then create new virtual machine. This panel is used to make an account for the Internet Quest OS. First, input the username. We will use the VBox user. Then enter the password and repeat the password. Then input all the additional options like host name. We will use Ubuntu and domain name myguest.virtualbox.org. Then click next. Next, we allocate the hardware resources. We use the base memory of 2048 megabytes. Then the processor, 1 CPU. Next, we set up the virtual hard disk. We use 25 gigabyte. And click next. Then we finish all the installation. There will be a summary of the installation process, like the machine name, the machine folder, ISO image, and others. So that, after you click finish, there will be a panel showing the Ubuntu or the virtual machine, VirtualBox. But to increase the size, so it's actually viewable, we can adjust the view display. You go to view and click the auto resize quest display. This, if done correctly, should show the virtual machine Linux, like in the right image here. Next, I will explain all the features and functions of VirtualBox. So for the features, first we have files. This gives the general settings for the virtual machine. Second, we have the machine, which provides information about the current virtual machine, as well as being able to configure the setting, take snapshot, and pause or reset or shut down the virtual machine. For the View tab, we have controls of how the virtual machine is being displayed, like the one I previously explained. For the input, we have changed the input used in the virtual machine. The devices, where we can manage all the devices used in the virtual machine. And lastly, help for documentation on how to operate the virtual machine. For the useful features of VirtualBox, first, we have media sharing. This provides the ability to share files and folders between the host machine and the virtual machine. This is the most useful feature for a virtual machine, so that virtual machine can actually be usable. For the snapshot, we have it means that save the exact state of virtual machine at a specific point in time. This can be used to save changes. So if there's error, you can turn back that state of a virtual machine. Third, we have session information. This provides detailed insights into the current state and configuration of virtual machine during its runtime. This can be used to check for compatibility and the performance of the virtual machine or devices. Lastly, we have true network shares. This allows resources on the host machine to be shared over a network. This should be obvious. It is to share like files or programs over a network. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and thank you.